Hi everyone, happy opening week of school. I wanted to send a quick video to just give you an overview of the Five Fingertips curriculum and what that might look like virtually. So everyone should have gotten in their emails this week four different things: the introduction to the curriculum, the overview of Unit 1, so that's just going to be the focus for each week through Unit 1. Number 3 are the lessons for week 1 of Unit 1, and then finally the slides. So what I want to do is just quickly go through the curriculum and just give you some quick tips for implementing this remotely. So just a little background. This Five Fingertips is based on belief, courage, action, perseverance, and love, and helping to integrate these core values into not only our school through the staff, but through the students as well, so that it really permeates through the school environment. The purpose is to have a really simple way to integrate SEL into the daily curriculum. Now, what I am sharing with you, I used to expand upon for an entire, I believe it was a 50-minute resource class. So I was like one of the music art SEL class. So what I did is I really kind of broke it down into the core of what the curriculum is, which is based in the talking circle, and tried to give you guys a really bite-sized way to incorporate this into your class. So it's going to help to create the culture of love, that feeling of belonging, allow for equity of voice. That's huge because, there's a reason the talking circle is imperative in order to make sure that everyone is heard, everyone's stories are heard, their feelings, and it's going to help build community. So it was created in order to meet the standards. I went off of the Illinois Social Emotional Learning Standards, which are really in depth. But the 3 goals are to develop self-awareness and self-management, social awareness and interpersonal skills, so how to relate to one another, and then demonstrate decision-making skills and responsible behavior. So you are going to be the facilitator. You are going to be able to create this environment. I am simply giving you the guidelines. I want you to make sure you infuse your own voice. Your talking circle is your sacred space. And so I want you to infuse your voice, your character, who you are into this curriculum, okay? So again, it's based on the 5 fingertips. Each one of the fingertips is going to be infused into each week. So a unit is 5 weeks. So the first week is belief, then we have courage the next week, and so on, okay? I've listed all of those and reminders of what those are and what they look like into the introduction overview. And then I want to go a little bit deeper into the talking circles and the components of the curriculum. So the talking circle is the foundation of how this curriculum gets delivered. And it was very intentional that way because it is, a truly safe and sacred space that we create as the teacher so that we can learn about each other and build that community. So within the circle, you are going to present the very, very mini bite-sized SEL concept and the weekly fingertip focus. And then within the circle, provide students a chance to reflect on questions that are related to that concept. So these are things that will start off pretty surface level as we practice circle and practice getting to know each other, and then have students dive deeper. Now, I want to let you know that I have done this work with kids from kindergarten all the way through 8th grade. I don't want you to think that because a child is young that they can't handle the circle. They absolutely can. In fact, I saw the most success with the young kids. The older kids took a lot longer to build trust and to, they just weren't sure if they could open up and trust. The little kids, this is the perfect time with the kindergarten and 1st grade, 2nd graders to get them to start sharing, and they will then become used to the idea that they can share going forward. All right. So, I don't want this to be a super long video. So you guys have the document. So I'm just going to kind of go through some things that I wanted to stress. So the components of the talking circle. Typically this is held, the participant circle is held in an actual circle. Since we can't, we're going to have to modify things in order to make this work remotely. Number 2, the circle guidelines. These are very, very important. Very important. And these are the agreed upon behaviors that will help create the safety. And this is the most important part. as the teacher, you are responsible for helping to create this sense of safety. That means redirecting kids who are not following the protocol, reinforcing the positive behavior, and making sure that all the kids are safe. And I'm going to talk a little bit deeper about this, about the guidelines in a little bit. The circle keeper is you. You are the person that runs the circle. The opening ceremony. The circle, in order for it to be a sacred space, we have a distinct opening and a distinct closing. You can be as creative as you want or as simple as you want with this. I used a bell, and personally I went ding, ding, and then we took 2 deep breaths. 1, and then we breathed again, and then I would bring my tone down and I would say, okay, welcome to circle. And at the end, I did the same thing. I would say, we are now closing circle, and I would ring the bell, take the breath, and the kids knew that this time in between was this sacred space. Okay, so that's the opening ceremony. So you might want to have a bell, a chime, anything for you. I like having some sort of sound along with some sort of breathing to help give the signal and then bring the kids' nervous system down to a calm place. The next thing that we talk about, number 5, is the centerpiece. And this is the part of the circle when we are in person that sort of allows the kids to know, okay, there's this mat or tapestry or pot of flowers. There's something symbolic in the middle of my circle. So I know that this is an important space. This space is different than the space that I'm typically in my classroom. Since we are virtual, an idea for a centerpiece might be to get like a pretty picture or an image and put it up and share it on your screen so that the kids know when this picture is up, this symbol, maybe it's a heart, maybe it's flowers, maybe it's outer space, maybe it's kids holding hands. I don't know what it is. It's totally up to you. Every class typically creates their own centerpiece. But you can put in whatever you want, but that's what I'm thinking for virtual, to have something up in the screen. If you want to take that down after a bit so you can see the kids as you go through the questions, that's fine too, but maybe put it up as like a symbol as you're doing the opening ceremony so the kids know that that's another visual that it's time. Okay. Number 6, the 6th component of this talking circle is the talking piece. Now, typically this is an item that is passed around. I had a stuffed Finding Nemo doll, and I passed it around the circle. The kids loved it. Virtually, there are several things you can do. You can be the person that calls the kids out and says, okay, now it's Johnny's turn to speak. And then, he can call in somebody. I'm not crazy about that because the idea is that we want sort of the kid to just kind of know when their turn is coming so they can prepare. But again, we have to make adjustments for the virtual circle. So, you can also, call the kid's name and you say, okay, Johnny's next. And then Johnny goes and might say, I pass the talking piece back to the center, so that at that time, then you as the teacher can say, okay, now it's Leela's turn to speak. And Leela speaks and then says, I pass the talking piece back to the center. So you can kind of figure out what works for you, but play with it. Just see what works with your age group. You might, order the kids in number. Maybe you already have that, and so it might be just they know that if they're number 5, they come after number 4, and so it's already kind of set up. So those are just some ideas for talking pieces. Oh, one thing I did want to say, and I'm sorry to jump back, but I was thinking about the idea of creating the space as sort of that like safe, unique, sacred space. Virtually, this might also look like, you doing something special. Maybe you're lighting a candle in your house. Maybe you turn your lights a little bit down. Maybe you have some string lights behind you. So as the circle keeper in the virtual sense, you might be able to do some things that would make it feel sacred and unique. Like when I do sessions with my clients, I always light a candle and they know that our time is starting and it's special. So that might be something that you want to do. So whatever on your end could help make it feel different than it would when you are in typical academic time, go ahead and try that. So number 7 is the circle introduction. This is when we get into the curriculum. Each day, you're going to have something very short to say. Now, I gave you examples of things to say. So it literally says, say this, welcome to circle, blah, 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 blah. Please do not see that as something condescending. I know you are the expert of your class. Feel free to modify this. I'm just going to give you guidelines and ideas. In my mind, I want to make your life easier. So I wanted to just give you a sort of a script. Feel free to expand on that. Feel free to modify that. But we're basically going to be introducing that concept for the day. So you can do that whatever feels comfortable for you. After we introduce the concept of the day, you guys are already in circle. We're doing the feelings check-in. And this is where the kids are going to share, one word to describe how they're feeling. If kids are nonverbal, or for the younger kids, you can have them do thumbs. So in the beginning of the year, when we were just starting and getting to know each other, I would have the kids show me their thumbs of how they're feeling. I also have a sheet with feeling faces on it, which I'll share with you. You can either give each kid one of those sheets and they can point to it. I'm feeling frustrated, or I'm feeling sleepy. That might be helpful as well. But we want to do this consistently so that it becomes normalized to share how we're feeling. All right, so once we do the core question, the feelings check-in, we're going to go into the core questions. These are the questions that align with whatever the benchmark is for the day. So, for example, I believe it's day 2, this is going to be the day after the kids have the fingertips assembly. I wrote in some questions about belief. When someone believes in me, I feel, and the kids are going to finish that phrase. I would say for the time that you have, make sure you do at least one core question, up to about 3. Typically, I'm thinking when I had a class of about approximately 30 kids, 3 questions, 3 rounds of the circle was enough. But remember too that you can take your circle to the end of the day. So maybe you do 2 questions in the morning, you get in circle again at the end of the day, and you do another feelings question, and you see how they're doing, and maybe you do a checkout question, what was something about the day that they want to talk about. So know that the circle is very pliable, and you can use this in different times of the day. Maybe it's after lunch. It's totally up to you. So then we're gonna have the closing ceremony, and again, this is to make sure that we are closing this time off. This is sacred space, and it's just really important that they know that this time has come to a close, and when it comes back around the next day, we will get there. A couple of things about guidelines. And I put this would all be in document number 3, which is the lessons document. I put a little welcome note and some additional notes. I've already mentioned to be yourself. That's so important here because we want to create the genuine relationships with the kids. So if you're not being genuine and you're not being who you are, they're going to have a hard time trusting you. So make sure you show who you are. You show them that you love and care about them. The emotional safety is a piece that I want to talk about and make sure before I wrap this up that we're really paying attention to. Make sure that you are maintaining the safety of the circle by reinforcing the positive behavior, redirecting the students that are not being safe. One of the things that I noticed in my years of doing this work, the kids will give each other looks. I wrote this in the notes, but I wanted to speak on it. Watch out for, so let's say the student next to me says, the question is, what's your favorite food? And the kid next to me has the talking piece and they say, my favorite food is sushi. And then you see 2 kids across the room kind of giving each other looks, that nonverbal communication, like, oh, sushi, ew. Maybe they're making a judgment. Maybe it has nothing to do with what this kid just said. Either way, that cross communication in the circle destroys the safety of the circle. So, as the circle keeper, one thing I always did was I looked out for those kids. I watched for that because I know that even though the kids might learn that, okay, I can't talk, but I'm going to give looks. Absolutely not. The looks are unacceptable. They destroy the safety, and our job is to keep our eyes on the speaker. So watch out for those kids. Sometimes I just look at them and give them the eyes like this, teacher eyes. Maybe you speak with them afterwards. but this is a very, very big deal. And a lot of times kids will do this. They'll try to contact their friends with their eyes or their body language because they're uncomfortable. And so we do not want this student's particular discomfort to affect the safety of the circle and how vulnerable the kids are. Okay, it's really, really important. That was the one thing that I saw from all the grade levels that I made sure to very consistently redirect. So just watch out for that. Again, in online, you're not going to be able to see who's looking at who, but still watch out for it. And the last thing I wanted to mention is the processing time. So after you ask the question, what does belief mean to you? I'm going to give you guys a second to think about it, just to kind of come up with your answer. So you want to give them a few moments, and you can also say, just give me a thumbs up when you're ready. And so when you see the majority of the kids ready, then you can go ahead and start the circle. Each of the days, everything's listed out for you, what to say. Again, don't forget you can add, modify, take away, depending on your time. I also included slides for you to use. So again, I only distributed week 1 because I don't want you to be overwhelmed. So use that if you want, make a copy of it, modify it with the questions for your class, use it, don't use it. It's totally up to you. If there's any resources as we go that you think of that you need to help this run more smoothly for you, let me know. I am going to go week by week because I know that this is an awkward, weird time with remote learning, especially implementing something like talking circles. So if something comes up for you, shoot me an email, say, hey, Katie, it would be really helpful if we had this. Do you have any ideas or suggestions about this thing that came up? I am here for you as a resource. I think that is all. I will be doing the assembly tomorrow, so everyone will get an idea of what the fingertips are, and then you'll be able to sort of just kind of go off of that for the rest of this week. I'm here for you if you need anything. I tried to keep this under 10 minutes. It is now 17 minutes. I am so sorry. I went as quick as I could. Love you all. You're doing a great job. I am here if you need anything. We'll talk to you soon.